well lit. Oh no, you're seeing the behind the scenes of a Dirk the Red Panda video. Oh god, how messy, how disastrous. Stuff everywhere. Alright. Not to fear though. I think I managed to get things working. Alright guys, welcome back. Dirk the Red Panda here with password, which you can hear, but I have not popped up yet, which I need to change the window for it, which I'll do right now. Oh, scroll past it. Bam, magic. And there we go. I'm eating dinner, so in traditional password tradition, I guess, we will be mukbanging before the video. So I'll have a table of contents at the bottom of the video, which will make the video like play bar space or whatever look like chunks again, so you know when to play the actual game and when I'm just eating. So no worries if you log in and realize, why is he eating for like 15 minutes? So yeah, this is gonna be our little chill session before we play. We all gotta be nice and well nourished before we play a nice sweet game of password. I also got something kinda in my eye, I think I'm good. Let me just check that the go live option is working. And I think I have to change some settings. So alert box and chat box. Source. I think I don't have to shut it down when not visible. Let's see if that works. I think JCP was the first person that came. I think I got that right. I'm just kind of updating my global settings before this happens. So I think I have to keep the shutdown setting on, but everything else is working fine. I think it should be going fine. Magic! We got magic working. And we got Wolfst, who says hi. Wolfstar Convoy, which, yeah, I need to figure out how to get people's full names actually in there. But this is the best I can do with Streamlabs. So yeah, we got our gang of people here. We got Anya, or I'm trying to think of how you say the Spanish G. Anya. Okay, so we got Angel Sebastian says hi, Wolfstar Convoy says hi, Brianna says hi, JCP, Horseman says hi, and Toxic Fox, if I could say his name, or her name, their name. Toxic Fox says they're finally not late for once. I can feel you there. And I am the senpai now, and I have noticed you. Oh boy. This is just chaos. Let's see what else I can do. There we go. Now I can type to you guys in case anything happens. Streamlabs is weird. It won't let me sign in to my own chat box, so I have to do it through YouTube. Alright, so what I'm eating, gonna do the whole mukbang thing, like, this is my food, I'm gonna eat it, is pad thai. Usually Saturday nights are pad thai nights, but I felt a little bit festive tonight. I thought, how about Friday nights are pad thai nights now? So I am going to eat some pad thai and drink from my gay cup with Dr. Pepper in it that exploded on me earlier, so I had to clean that up before this. That was fun. Do not put it on the floor of your car when you're driving, because it's gonna move. Unless you have a billion groceries keeping it still, which I did not. I only had like a couple. So yeah, learned that the hard way. So I might turn you guys around as I eat. Let me know if I pop out of camera too much. You guys are rotating with me. We're rotating to the other dimension of this house. Apartment. Whatever. So how's everybody doing so far? Or well, so far today, I mean. We've only done like 5 minutes of this video so far. Oh, and Light is here. Good old Light. I said it wrong. Good old... I feel bad if I say his name wrong after knowing him for years now. Lied. It's like you gotta say the B soft enough, but not be like lied and completely screw it up. Welch is... Well, Welsh is tough to say. I just said Welch, like Welch gummies. Oh, God. But... yeah, it's good to hear that Woolstar's good. Tired, I totally understand, especially if it's not Pacific Standard Time for you guys right now. It's 8 o'clock for me, and I tend to stream later now because I would start doing work earlier now for school instead of waiting to the last minute. So, finished that earlier today. I was really happy because I had a breakthrough for that assignment. Still don't know what I'm doing for my other class, but things are going well with that. I finished tonight. I shaved. I cleaned myself up, washed up, shopped, eating dinner right now, and got some Halloween candy in case kids come around and I have to be like, take candy, here you go. So, never really had to do that before. Never had to think about, man, I don't want to be that jerk that's like, I don't have candy, go away, kid. You know, wouldn't that just be mean? I would be disappointed if I was a kid and that happened. Like, I know I have kid neighbors like 2 blocks down. I hear them all the time, so at least I have 2 or so kid neighbors that might just come around. They're like that age where they trick or treat, so I might get some trick or treaters. Have to be ready. Yeah, I'm a night person too, sassy. So that's why this also works out for me normally. There's an unknown person, 123, who says hello, Dirk, and a retracted message which I'll never hear or know. So hello, unknown. Yes, this is indeed a mukbang. I mentioned that earlier. Kind of joked about it. I kind of find it fun just to chill out before the stream and like have a little section cut out just for that. Just so it's not just immediately like, man, we gotta play the game now and just ram through it. Like I've sometimes done that where I rush the game a little too fast. Plus, now that we have a table of contents setting on YouTube where we can split up the video into visible parts, I can do it without people being like, when do I skip? So, you know, things are all chill. Unknown B looking pretty sus. Oh gosh, that was a big scallion. And I like it. I like scallions. I think they're also called green onions. I'm not sure. They're different. Scallion, green onion. Either way, I love them, and I think they're super underrated. Like, people gotta love scallions. Like, they got health benefits. They're also flavorful. Like, they're the best of every world. Oh god. Nobody saw that. Just kidding. How many people are viewing? 16 of you saw that. This is gonna be in the Dirk, like, database, I guess. There's gonna be some secret organization out there looking at everything I do. Oh wait, that's just the... What is it? What is it? Is it not IRS, but it's like doesn't I forget, like there's some sort of like service like that where it's like in America where they just monitor like everything people do. Terrible joke, but I tried. We saw it. Yes, you did, of course. I thought I was sneaky, but I wasn't. Honestly, one of my favorite foods is pad thai. If I could find a good recipe for it, honestly, I'd be set for life. I'd probably eat it way too much. Like, it's just the perfect food for me. It just has that perfect taste where it's like not overbearing, it's not too tiresome to eat, but at the same time, it's not too saturated in flavor either, where you're like, oh god, it's intense. Yeah, and like I said, it's also not underwhelming or tiring or bored to eat. So yeah, perfect mix of everything. Oh, a milkshake does sound pretty good though right now, jeweler. I have my gay juice. I have my gay drink, gay cup, whatever this thing is called. I have the gay cup and I have the gay juice that turns the freaking frogs gay. The Alex Jones jokes will never cease. Ain't nothing like watching the guy eat. It's a big thing for people to watch nowadays. True. Mukbangs have been on the rise. And these didn't start out for me as like a, ooh, let me do this as a strategy to gain more subscribers. Like, no, it's literally me running late for these videos and being like, I need to eat, but I also need to stream. Why not both? Oh my god, peppermint milkshake sounds so good. Oh my god, you're killing me. I have mint chip ice cream though in my fridge. That was one of the things I bought. That and then some like frozen like chicken rice type of meal, like a chicken fried rice type of thing. Got from Trader Joe's. Always has great chicken fried rice. And then I got a couple other things. I got the Halloween candy, like I said. I bought a huge pack of Smarties, and if you don't like Smarties, we gotta throw hands because Smarties are underrated. Like, you gotta love Smarties. They're like the hardened version. They're like the solidified version of a pixie stick to me. And you know how people keep comparing pixie sticks to like crack and stuff. It's like solid crack. Oh my god, with stop it, jeweler, you're killing me. Ah. This is so good, actually. I'm gonna try and go a little bit faster with my eating so I can finish up. I don't want this to turn into like an hour-long mukbang and then we do password. try and get done within the next 5-10 minutes. Yeah, usually mukbangers like will talk about their lives, and that's why it gets so long. I haven't talked much about my life this time, other than finishing my homework today. That took me like 3 days, and then I have another homework assignment that's taken me a little more than that actually, which has been quite insane and really mentally draining because no one understands the class. Everyone probably noticed that. I am so sorry for being such a sloppy eater on camera. This is now a Dirk apology video. I apologize for my rude eating of pad thai. I was really in a instinctual mood and just did not think with my proper conscious mind. And as a result, I did not put in the proper thought into eating. Therefore, I will be much better with my eating from now on. And now I apologize. And that's the end of the apology video. Oh god, this is gonna turn into like a agglomeration of like 3 or 4 different types of videos. But the apology is just a little fun thing to do. I am entertaining the masses with my eating. Yes, I am sassy. Don't worry, I'm almost done. Like, I try not to talk with the food in my mouth. Like, that's one of my biggest pet peeves. Like, I have people in my family that do that, and it drives me nuts. And I've told them. And they've gotten better, but still, will have their moments. You know, not a fun thing to hear. Now I'm getting to the hardest part, the final bits. The hardest part of eating pad thai. And it's very small and hard to pick up with your chopsticks. I'm almost there. I got like 2 or 3 bites left. So dang good. Foodgasming right now. Don't let your kids watch that. Alright, I'm done. Eat your heat out, Dirk. No, what you meant, but honestly, I need to eat this heat out because it's actually starting to get hot in here. So I'm gonna open up the back window while I throw this away, and we will get started. See you within half an hour. As I readjust that, and nailed it. Alright, so we got the fan setting at 1. Hopefully that will not be too loud for you guys. And I also have the windows open just to ventilate the air so I can not be so hot. Trying to be like struck to a pose, but didn't work out. Gotta just make more space for my gay cup. Actually, it's supposed to be a gay mug. I was wrong the whole time. Mugs are technically cups. So, gay mug. Right here. Dave's gay mug. Alright, so we are gonna start. Oh man, Coca-Cola gummies. That'd be pretty good. I actually don't have gummies now. Instead, I really crave like chunky chocolate, like hardened chocolates. So I got like 6 Hershey bars, like the ones that are come in like a pack for like roasting marshmallows, and just threw them in the freezer. And oh gosh, if you love like hard chocolate, oh god, it's so good. My fat German Shepherd is saying hi. I'm saying hi back to your fat German Shepherd. Bet he's adorable. Seriously, German Shepherds are so cute. Alright, so we are going to start. No longer waiting. I can't English anymore. Jeez. Where the heck is my settings? I just realized I didn't change the thumbnail. So, Mukbang with Dirk. And then, what time is it? It's 8:45 technically, or 8:41, but I'm just gonna give us about 25 actual reading. And I have to upload the thumbnail because I can't believe I forgot. I think it's because of the whole Streamlabs thing being a bit different. You can't do it through Streamlabs, so you have to like try and do it through this. It's a bit tricky, but you know, at least Streamlabs has little perks and things that other things don't normally have. What am I doing? I just brain farted, like what was I uploading? We are playing Tyson's route today, so we got a good old Tyson thumbnail coming up your way, and the restriction is going to be no age restriction, but it's not made for kids. And the age restriction will be turned on if anything violent or gory happens. I do not have paid promotion. And then I will type in all the keywords to get 1 million views and $1 million. I am typing the secrets to winning all the views. Password, visual novel. Just your basics, actually. Just. Okay. Yeah, that's everything. Cool. We are going to start now. And I said 25 minutes we're going to start technically, so we are going to wait 40 seconds to start. Alright, so last time what happened was Tyson, well, it's kind of similar in Tyson and Dean's roots, but both had Dave walking out in the morning having his kind of trauma with his family, having a flashbacks to that day in his life, like not the actual moment, but like kind of that day of interwoven into the dream, and having some really dark thoughts at the climax of his walk outside. And then he came back, talked to Tyson. This part's the more unique part to Tyson's route, I think. Just talking to him about like what they are. I can't confirm that. My brain's just so foggy with that from last month. I've been trying to shove schoolwork in it, so couldn't really remember it all too well, but that's kind of the gist of it. We try and still work things out with Tyson. We get something similar with Dean's version of this, which also got released at the same time. All the day 13s are released together because it's very overlapping so far. But that happened, and we eventually found out Oswin. Well, we knew Oswin. The rest of the gang found out Oswin as he comes out of the woodworks and shows us his library. And yeah, that's all you have to know. Not too much happened in terms of like amount of events, but significant nonetheless. So I said we're gonna start at 25 minutes. I lied. We're gonna start at 27, so we gotta start now. Love Dave and Yuichi in that they're the two characters I can finally just use my regular voice for. I think they're the only two MCs I do that for now. I did it with Marco. I forget who else. We need to keep going, screw it. I found myself mouthing the words now, just shy of saying them myself. My head hurt, my heart ached, but despite it all, I was able to get some sleep. You guys hear that? People be partying. I'll close the windows in a second once it starts to get cooler in here. Or if they get too loud. One of the two. I'll try not to interrupt this stream too much with that. Don't want to turn into another VN streamer and interrupt like every 2 minutes. Alright, anyway. Tough line. This is a very tough line to say. Because it's hot as hell right now. Anyway. I was cold. Not in a way that throwing on more clothes could fix, but something more chilling at my core. When I opened my eyes, it was the crack of dawn, at least based off the light slowly filtering in from the window. And that cold feeling was still clung to me, almost like a blanket I just couldn't shrug off. I would have thought that Oswin being out in the open would have made me feel better. One less secret weighing me down that should have been helping. If anything, I felt worse. My throat was dry, my fur tingled, and I got up to have a shower. Not that it did much good. The water was hot, and I sighed out, basking in it, but the feeling lasting only while I was under the water. I wondered if Orlando would hate me for thinking of him right now. Not as a friend, but as a convenient heater. Made all the worse that he had made a point of sacrificing his own happiness for mine, leaving me a mess of what to think. Obviously, I cared for Orlando just as more than just a heater, and more than just a regular friend too. With a sigh, I resigned to lay on my bed, staring at the ceiling. The cold transitioned into a numbness that covered my entire body. Something that felt like I was covered by something matting my fur together. Closing my eyes, I wondered where things stood after last night. But the sudden onset of pain coursing through my head made me yelp, clutching my head. Got something in my eye, so I'm clutching my head. Seriously, just a little flack though. There were so many questions, but not enough answers. Oswin was around, so maybe the focus could be on him instead of me. It'd give me some freedom to think, for people to leave me alone. But was that what I really wanted? Maybe I wanted someone to give me attention, to notice me, to save me. The sound that came out of my mouth was feeble, tired, and an elongated whine that registered as a sound a wounded animal would make. Sitting upright as I heard a knock on my door, I wondered who it could be at this hour. Come in? You gotta do it in a whiny voice. Come in. Sal slipped quietly into my room and closed the door behind him, keeping his gaze elsewhere. Hey, Sal.
Yes. Hello,
He seemed to go to speak a few times, thinking over his words before settling on what he wanted to say.
I wanted to see if you were awake. I thought you might be.
Shuffling closer, he stopped halfway between the door and my bed, quickly looking me over.
You know I am. Normally up, I mean.
You know I am. What was the context? I didn't even know the context before he said that. What's wrong, Sal?
Me? Oh, yeah, right. I just wanted to check in on how you were going. You weren't at dinner. You're likely hungry, and there's that other boar.
Oswin?
Right.
He trailed off there, looking uncertain. There's so many things that Itching closer, he stopped just shy of the bed.
Orlando. He came to me last night. For all the panic that was going on, he came to me in tears.
I'm like trying to think of the inflections as a voice actor. Oh god, I'm being too picky on myself. The idea made me sit up, frowning. Sal sat down carefully on the bed, rubbing his arms.
He's terrified, but he knows when to seek help. He wanted grounding and reassurance things are going to be okay.
Okay? Sal sighed, shaking his head.
Why haven't you done that? Or why haven't you done that? If not me, then Tyson. Orlando. Haas, Roswell. Or anyone.
I didn't have to answer. Instead, just sitting there with my mouth parted, ready to defend myself, but no words came. That's Sal.
My concern is that if I don't press you to talk about it, you never will.
But what if I don't want to talk about it? Flashing him a wry smile, he stared at me, expressionless for a few moments before standing again.
Okay, fair enough. Sorry to have bothered you, Dave.
He's just like, peace, vanishes. He walked towards the door and quickly left before I had much time to really process what he was doing. Alone once again, I sighed out, shifting so I was comfortable in my bed again. I listened to the sound of the house, the creaking walls and the sound of birds outside my window. More time passed and I could hear the others moving about, tiredly greeting one another. Slipping out of my room, I wandered downstairs, following in the wake of my friends who seemed to be heading towards the dining room for breakfast. What do you think you're doing? Rubbing my eyes as I took stock of what was happening, I saw Oswin sitting at the table across from Roswell, clutching his coffee much in the same way I would.
Nothing.
Roswell was helping himself to some cereal, eyes focused on the... or wait. The commas are just... the lack of commas are infuriating me. Roswell was helping himself to some cereal, not cereal eyes. Roswell was helping himself to some cereal, eyes focused on the older boar opposite him.
Just eating breakfast.
Oswin's eyes bulged as the last few crumbs of cereal fell out of the box, signaling that there was nothing left. Watch it be like Fruit Loops or something, he just like absolutely flips the table because Roswell took the last Fruit Loops. Oh, that'd be too funny. Good morning. My greeting went ignored as Oswin's jaw was clenched and the continued staring at Roswell. The others seemed to pay them no mind, some taking a seat at the table while a couple others went into the kitchen. That better not have been the last box, Roswell.
I would have thought this cereal was for kids based on the slogan on the box. Don't know why you're kicking up such a fuss over it, Mr. Hammond.
Why, you little... Benson! Oswin hollered, looking around quickly for the butler. A few of us flinched, but went back to groggily sitting at the table. Roswell, you're a little shit, and I'm loving it right now. The one time I enjoy it. Sure enough, Benson emerged with the rest of those missing at the table, and food was brought along with them. Yes, Master Oswin? Did you give Roswell that cereal box? I did not, Master Oswin. Is there a problem? A problem? There won't be so long as there's another box remaining. Then by all means, you're welcome to check while I attend on the guests. You're the butler, you check. Ah, but what host would I be if I neglected the needs of our guests? No reply came from Oswin, instead just looking between his butler and Roswell with a scowl. Now, if you were that bothered by the lack of your preferred breakfast, you have 2 legs of your own, sir. You are welcome to check the pantry. Oh god, this is just too good. A few moments later, and he stood suddenly, grunting once more before stomping over to the kitchen and throwing the door open to disappear into the adjoining room. Now then, Master Roswell, did you really need to provoke Master Oswin like that?
Not really.
You're just a little shit, Roswell, just in general. Will Roswell make March Madness this year? Only time will tell as I plug my survey constantly throughout the next few months. Good morning, Master Dave. Did you require coffee? Is Oswin going to be alright? That is something I wouldn't worry yourself over. Yeah. Orlando piped up from nearby, keeping his eyes on the food he'd brought out. It was like this at dinner, too. Roswell asked him a bunch of questions and figured out what buttons to press really quickly.
Hey, after last night, I just had a lot of pent-up curiosity that I figured he'd make for a good person to vent to.
Person who killed 99 people? Yeah, I'm totally gonna push his buttons. Roswell, I don't know why you are the way you are. By asking him questions non-stop, he looked ready to throttle you. Had Master Roswell not been as slippery as he proved, he might have. You wouldn't really let that happen, though, would you? Of course not, Master Dave. I always carry a katana. I may serve Master Oswin as his butler, but I'm not about to let him bring harm to our guests. Or act as a child. Benson continued on, and Roswell started eating his cereal while I grabbed a piece of toast.
Going without coffee today? That is so unlike you.
Huh? Oh. Right. Pouring myself a mug from the pot on the table, I had the sugar and milk passed to me carefully by Orlando. Thanks. Sure. No problem. Yeah, okay. I caught Sal nudging Dean, who seemed to pick up that he was meant to do something.
Oh, right. Orlando, how are you holding up? Or how are you holding up?
Good?
He knows, Orlando.
Oh, then... Could be better. I'll be fine, I think.
You sure? Don't need, I don't know, something to help things along? A talk? A distraction? I sank into my chair. Part of me felt this was just for show, or to highlight where I was failing. Well, I talked to Sal about stuff last night, but if we've got a plan for something to do later, I'm interested in keeping my mind busy. Well, good. How about... Shit, that was terrible. Crap. Well, good. How about we round up people and just... I don't know. Maybe we could bust out a big game that we can all play.
Among Us. We should all play Among Us. That would be so meta if they played like an Among Us parody in this game. I would absolutely just love to see that. Benson be looking kind of sus. Anyway. Yeah, I think I'd like that. They continued talking, and Orlando's spirits seemed to pick up. Turning my attention to Haas and Tyson, they seemed to already be talking about something. They could just like turn around and you just see like Tyson with like a head, like one of those anime headbands or whatever, just with like, what is it? With like kanji on it, like the Japanese kanji just written on there, and then just like, God, I'm thinking what Haas would wear. Just like he'd have his weeb shirt on, of course. What else would Haas be wearing? They have gone full weeb, I swear. I'm telling you, you're picking one today. If you're lucky. What are you two talking about? Nothing important. Nothing important? Jeez, oh, you have a long way to go. Oh, honey, you got a long way to go. Just like Haas, but sassy. Haas and Orlando could be sass queens. More so Orlando, but oof, Haas could be a close second. It's just a... whatever it is you call it. I don't even have a favorite show yet.
And you're asking me to pick a favorite character from everything you've watched? Which is a very important step in the process, big dog. I don't think you should call him that, Hoss. Why not? Ty doesn't... he... Tyson looked at me funny. I just said that more in the Tyson voice. Tyson looked at me funny. Anyway, Tyson looked at me funny, somewhat confused. It's fine. What? But you... And... I need more coffee. Carry on. I felt confused. He tore into me for bringing it up, but days later, Haas is getting away with the same thing, no problem. It didn't feel fair. It's not like I'm fucking thrilled over it. It's just putting up with it for your sake. But... well, I wore him down, I guess. All about that give and take, right? I went to speak again, but the words caught in my throat. Anyway, I'm not picking one. Oh, come on. It's not that hard. Even Dave has one. Even if his taste is to be refined. Refined? He's saying you have shit taste, pup. Spoken like a champ. I don't. Just the meme. Oh god. You do, but that's alright. Different strokes for different folks. And all that. There is something else weighing me down now. The judgment of what I find appealing and what I like. Normally we go back and forth. Not just Haas and I, but Ross and Orlando too. But now with everything else, it was just wearing me down. Oh, right. Of course. I chuckled, focusing just on my coffee instead. As I focus on my coffee. This is actually a pretty good concoction, not gonna lie. And I still have it out, and the problem with the whole carbonation explosion thing that I had earlier, my Dr. Pepper acting a fool on me, is that I only have about a half of it left. I think I lost a whole liter of it, just from that explosion. Maybe like half a liter. But yeah, it was rough. So, yeah, you just gotta make do with what you got. I was going to buy 2 originally, and then I was like, I don't want to spend too much money. Plus, I need to get Halloween candy in case kiddos come over. That sounds so wrong, but for Halloween, guys. But yeah, I chuckled, focusing just on my coffee instead. Dave, listen. You wanna watch anime with us later? I can just imagine Tyson scratching the back of his head, just like super nervous. Oh, it's so adorable. You wanna watch anime with us later? Oh, already taking the initiative? Gotta show him your favorites. Dude, what the hell? I'm allowed to invite who I want. Thanks, but no thanks. I flashed him a weak smile as I stood. Got plans already? Something like that. But, maybe I can join you guys later? Ty sighed and leaned back in his chair, rolling his shoulders. Oh god, my shoulders cracked again. Holy crap, I'm old.
Somebody just said their connection is slow. Just gonna double check to see if it's on my end. Just because that was something that happened to me in the past and I feel terrible when it happens. So far no problems, but, you know, you always gotta be vigilant. Anyway, let's carry on. Ty sighed and leaned back in his chair, rolling his shoulders. Sure, pup. Sure. Nodding to him, I stood up from the table and wandered down to the kitchen with my mug in hand. I love having this prop. Even having missed dinner, I wasn't all that hungry, but I wanted the excuse to get away from the table. Where is the blasted? As I entered, I looked at Benson, who was off to the side, watching as Oswin dug around in the pantry. I need my Fruit Loops, damn it! Somebody's mentioning a possible new character. I haven't heard of a Jack yet in Password, so that might be a new character. People have mentioned a Jack when talking about Password, and I don't want any spoilers. Damn, was watching the Cliff update and just saw this. Hello, Dirk. Hello, Doritos. Yeah, I definitely got lucky to stream twice this week. I normally will not, just because I have a lot of schoolwork I need to catch up on. But yeah, I just got pretty lucky this week and found some perfect holes in my schedule to plug this in. But yeah, it's a good stream, man. Definitely recommend watching that too, but if you want to watch this first, whatever you want. So, both are going to be fun streams. And as I entered, I looked to Benson, who was off to the side, watching as Oswin dug around in the pantry. Pay him no mind, Master Dave. This is just Master Oswin sourcing his own breakfast. He's just like, shoves things out of the way. Where are my Fruit Loops? It's been going for about, subtract 25 minutes from me doing a mukbang, technically half an hour of gameplay. But the actual stream itself has gone on for like 53 minutes. Anyway, he straightened, setting a colorful box on the counter and sighing out. That boy is lucky there was another box. Perhaps this is a sign you should leave the children's cereal for. The children, sir? I'm a grown man, and if I want sugar cereal for breakfast, then I'll be damned if I can't make that decision freely. But what about your teeth? Or eggs? Eggs? And back, he does have a point, sir. Scrambled eggs is manageable. He's like, chocolate cake! Chocolate cake. Going in the wrong direction, buddy. Chocolate cake? You're not having chocolate cake for breakfast. Why not? You're a grown adult, Oswin. God damn it, this is the third time this week I've told you you're not having chocolate cake for breakfast, or you get no Nintendo Switch, my older young master. Do you really think that's an appropriate meal choice for the first thing in the morning? Why, glad you asked, Benson. I do. Really? Why? I thought cake was for dessert or whatever. Be that as it may, sir. I'm not making you chocolate cake for breakfast. Then sugar cereal?
We're going in circles. But now we're back to scrambled eggs, right? Did you want eggs, Master Dave? I quickly shook my head, heading over to the coffee machine instead to contemplate if I needed another cup or if I should go without. Dave, how are you feeling? Fine. You don't sound fine, my boy. I'm fine, really. How did last night go? Fine. I shot him a look and he gave me one back, accompanied with a raised brow. Oswin reminds me of Elle's addiction to sweets from Death Note. Oh god. Should it not have been? Or should it not have been? No, I guess fine is a good thing. Master Ross will entertain Master Oswin with enough questions to keep most of your friends satisfied with his presence here. I turned to Oswin for clarification and he nodded. Quite a mind in that head of his. His aptitude for being able to find what people tick is truly worrying, however. I dare say you missed a show, Master Dave. With a grunt, Oswin started pouring himself some cereal, earning himself an annoyed, if fleeting, look from Benson. Oh, yeah, you said that Roswell was being slippery, and Oswin would have throttled him if he'd caught him, right? He moves faster than I give him credit for. It's a wonder that bastard child is as fast as he is, given how pudgy he is in the middle. You're one to talk, Oswin. That's not very nice. Just stating fact. If it makes you feel better, consider it my jealousy shown in that I wish I had less weight to slow me down. And I see you're going to great lengths to remedy that fact by eating your second bowl of cereal. Grumbling, Oswin crunched what mouthful he had before defiantly shoving another spoonful of cereal into his mouth. Oh my god. Oswin, stop! You're gonna kill yourself. Now, my boy, are you sure you didn't want anything for breakfast? Another cup of coffee, perhaps? I don't know, man. I'm pretty tired. Still standing by the coffee machine, I gave it a once-over look before shaking my head again. No, thanks. I'll be alright. I wandered out of the kitchen into the hall leading to the foyer. My friends were on the other side of the wall, conversing amongst themselves, and while I couldn't hear specifics, I couldn't make out that they seemed happy enough. So, why wasn't I happy? When I thought about where my sadness stemmed from, there was only really one place. A room that I barely lingered in if I didn't need to. It'd been that way for, well, it was the room where I was told what had happened. Most of the time when I went for a walk, it was to get out of the house. Just down the street, or rarely in the wilderness like this. Dean had driven me out to a big garden before and we walked around together. But that was just something to do, right? Then there was Tyson and the occasional trips down to the beach. I had a lot of great memories, despite getting told constantly not to eat ice cream inside the car. There was something about how ice cream tasted whenever we went, though. somehow sweeter. Or maybe it just reminded me of a happier time as a whole. I looked around at the trees before glancing back at the house. If I wandered further in, maybe I could have some time alone, right? There was a risk for sure. Much like with what happened with Roswell, I could end up out here. But was that really bad? Was spending a night out in the woods all that bad? If I wasn't around, I couldn't be hurt by what the vault showed me. I wouldn't have to look at my friends looking at me funny. Was it pity? Disappointment? I didn't really know. Trudging into the forest, I left them all behind. I couldn't hear the sound of running water after a while of walking. I couldn't say just how long I'd been walking, but eventually I arrived at a river. The water was clear, the sound of it oddly calming and taking the edge off. Someone had mentioned this, but at the moment I couldn't remember who exactly had told me about it. Taking a look around, it seemed as if I was totally alone. No fish in the river, no sounds of other animals or birds, or anyone else nearby. It almost felt like I was the last one standing as I stood at the edge of the water, looking down into my reflection. Without the choking smell of chlorine, I sighed out and looked at the hyena staring back at me. When will my reflection show who I am inside? As Dave looks into the river. My hands traced my cheeks, across my underbite to my nose. The way the water rippled made me squint to make out the details. Shy of the fur color, I was the spitting image of my dad. It was a legacy that I wasn't sure I liked now. Looking at myself in the mirror was a harsh reminder of him gone, right down to being unable to smile at my reflection. I thought about if he was watching over me, and what hope that sentiment meant felt more like a curse weighing me down. Not through anyone else's fault, but my own. Sorry. Looking up at the river, it winded down through the trees, cascading over a cliff off in the distance and further on. Where did the river start? Was there anything else out there? Wandering upstream, I figured I'd see where it went. Climbing up a steep incline near the waterfall, I dusted myself off and looked around for anything else that might have looked different. From what I could tell, this clearing by the river seemed to be a makeshift campsite. I wonder. There was a ring of stones placed somewhat in the middle of the clearing, with a large log sitting nearby acting as a bench. Taking a seat, I looked around. It seemed nice enough, but a crisp breeze made me realize that just how cold it could get out here late at night. I closed my eyes and breathed in deep, the fresh air helping clear my head a little bit. Sorry about that. But with a clear mind, thoughts came rushing in to fill the space, making me think of home. Come on, sport! Where are we going? Dad puffed out his chest, hands on his hips proudly.
Don't you want an adventure with your old man?
Always, Dad.
Good. Then buckle up because we're gonna get something awesome to eat when we get there.
Is Mom coming?
Not this time, bud. She's at work.
It almost seems like she never wants to come out with us anymore. I sighed, hopping into the car and closing the door before buckling myself in. Dad tapped on the window, indicating for me to lower it.
Why the long face, bucko?
Fidgeting in my chair, I tried to keep my eyes anywhere than his as he stuck his head through the window slightly to look at me properly, fishing for an answer. No reason, I guess.
Seems like there might be one.
You won't get mad at me, right?
No matter what. So, what's got you down?
Mom still loves me too, right?
What?
It was enough to make him recoil and hit his head on the roof of the car as he pulled back in shock.
What would make you think that?
Just... she's barely home, and... I don't really remember the last time she smiled at me. Did I do something wrong?
Don't you ever think we don't love you, David. You did nothing wrong, I promise.
He had his serious tone going, staring me down. I'm sorry. Dad sighed out, running his hands through his fur before wandering around the car and jumping in the driver's seat and buckling himself in. We didn't leave the driveway. Instead, his fingers just drummed on the steering wheel. It was the only sound we had as he hadn't even started the car. And when he stopped, I turned to look at him. He just smiled at me. Maybe it was a brave face or something else. I couldn't say. I remembered what he said next, or at least the individual words. But for the life of me, I couldn't remember specifically how it sounded. I love you. As I opened my eyes, the campfire site came back into view. The world around me hadn't changed outside of the faint sounds of nature now being something I was more aware of. Had it all just been drowned out as I lost myself in my head, or... In a daze, my eyes looked to the water, and as I sat on the log, watching it flow steadily downstream, I wondered what would happen if I drowned right here. If this was the place I died. I wondered if it would hurt, or if some miracle would come along and stop it from happening. I wondered why the idea didn't scare me as much as it probably should have. Was I a coward? Selfish? Of all the places to choose, at least here was peaceful. It would solve all my problems in one go. My sadness, my stress and guilt. I'd be able to see Dad again. Hopefully. Before I knew it, I was standing up and slowly walking towards the water's edge. My feet felt heavy, but my chest felt light. I wasn't having trouble breathing, but each breath rattled out of my barely parted mouth. Step by step, I got closer, not breaking stride once with my eyes locked on a spot somewhere in the middle of the river. Before I could second guess if I was going to follow through with falling in the water, I stepped on something solid but smooth. enough to make me look down to see what it was. What? I looked down what I picked up, rolling it over my hand. A thick glass syringe. A thick glass syringe with its needle capped off by some sort of plastic thing at the end. Had it been used? Why was it out here? It's the secret formula! Oh no. Don't stab yourself with it, Dave. You might get superpowers. Or die, but you might get superpowers. In the sunlight, I caught the glint of something half buried underneath some fallen leaves and now distracted from what I was originally doing, and went to investigate. Kneeling down, I picked up what that was too. Assuming another needle, but instead it was a bottle. Small, unassuming outside the label, it had neatly printed on its front. Cryptoc? The first word was long, and I wasn't sure I knew exactly how to pronounce it. But the second word I'd heard before. Some sort of illness that Mom had mentioned once, I think. With an item in each hand, I looked between the two. The bottle was empty with the foil seal on the top punctured. The needle, while capped, still had what looked to be the condensation inside. Pretty sure at some point he mentioned something like being at the end of a meat hook. Jesus. It's really dark. A few moments later, I yelped and quickly dropped both, drawing a conclusion I didn't quite want to believe. Did someone inject themselves here? Or did someone else inject another poison? The only person I knew about to be out here was Roswell. But the thing that was following me, was that out here? Could that have been part of this? I picked both up and put them in my pocket carefully. Oswin said things had gone missing from his lab, so maybe this was some of it. Either way, he'd know better. My mind raced when it was all meant as I looked around again. My resolve and focus on going into the river was shot and likely the better. But instead, it was replaced with curiosity, and I headed upstream. Take the evidence, Dave. Don't be stupid. I lost track of how long I walked, but I was in no hurry, taking occasional breaks to look about the trees. Something gave me the impression that I was being watched. Before me, sitting right along the water's edge, was a run-down mill. Moss and vines seeming to have claimed the place after many years of no use. Just like before, this place seemed quiet and serene. I would have said that it felt like I was truly alone if the feeling that I was being watched and get stronger the longer I stood out in the open. Is anyone here? Carefully looking around, I called out quietly. Silence. Nothing but silence to answer my question. Sorry, I decided to burp. I didn't really want to go inside the mill. After all, who knows what could have been in there, or if I wouldn't accidentally stop on a loose floor panel and get trapped. It was a reminder that I didn't tell anyone where I was going, but I only had myself to blame. I couldn't get angry about them not coming to save me because I didn't give them the chance. Not only that, but when I got back, I had no excuse for them to be mad at me for being a hypocrite yet again. I slumped my shoulders and sighed, leaning up against one of the beams holding up a trough above me.
I sighed, leaning up against one of the beams. Or wait, I said that already, I think. Braced against something, I whined out, my troubles making me hesitate and turning back now. My ears perked at the sound of a twig snapping, and I looked around. Eyes darting around the trees toward its source, I heard it again. Out in the open, the sound echoed for me, and it was hard to place exactly where it had come from. Being out in the open left me exposed, and I felt it now. Deciding that heading inside might not be the worst idea of all things considered. Inside the mill was dirty, and much like the outside, nature had claimed most of it. Walls were cracked, but the stonework held together despite the vines growing through a hole in one of the walls. Looking behind me to see if I was being followed, I ducked behind the doorway to try and stay out of sight. Not that it'd help if I had already been spotted. Reaching inside my pocket, I held out to the syringe, reminding myself that I had something in the way of a weapon just in case things went sour. It didn't look like there were any abandoned tools nearby that would make for a better option anyway. I heard another twig snap, followed by someone calling out. Hello? Hello? Somebody around out here? The voice had a tinge of amusement to it. Somewhat squeaky, too, so I could rule out it being any of my friends. Even Oswin and Benson didn't have a voice that matched that. Peering around the corner, I couldn't see anything. No sign of whoever it was that was also out here. They kept calling, asking where I was hiding, but it seemed as if they weren't making any effort to get closer. I weighed up heading further into the mill in an effort to hide, as leaving would just let whoever was calling out find me, right? It grew closer as I ventured further, or it grew colder as I ventured further in, and it seemed like I was heading more underground too. The air was stale down here, and there were half-broken slabs of concrete making up the flooring. Large pipes and machines seemed to be everywhere, all powered by the water well outside. The water wheel, I mean, sorry. Or if it was powered by anything else, I couldn't see a generator. There was something about this place that made me feel odd. The ceiling was high up above. Jagged pieces of metal jutted out at odd angles from the ceiling from where they'd rusted and fallen apart over time. How deep did this place go underground? What was it for? Lumber? Off to the side, there seemed to be a chute for something to drop down from the level above and onto a conveyor belt that ran along one side of the wall. At the end was a saw blade, ready to cut whatever was sent down the path to it. There was something about this place that I couldn't quite place. It wasn't sadness, but a feeling of unease that came from within. Familiar in a way, but I couldn't place how. Hello? There was that voice again, smug and amused as before, but now closer. The voice echoed through the building, and I backed up against one of the large metal chambers that dotted one room I was in. Footsteps, light but somewhat clumsy maybe, but that wasn't what stuck out to me. As good as my nose was, I couldn't smell them at all. Nothing to distinguish who they could be or anything. Was it because of the air in here? Straining my ears, I listened as they moved around, searching for me. It could have been friendly, or for all I knew, but something about this just seemed like bad news. Their footsteps sounded like they got closer before stopping entirely. Gripping the syringe tightly, I watched and waited and waited. I let out a breath and I didn't realize I'd been holding, figuring that I might have just misheard them leaving. Oh god! Boo! Fuck! The shock made me fall over and I hit my head super hard when I landed, passing out. And I passed out because I needed to fall asleep. Ow! Here, boy, take some coffee. Better. Ow. When I came to, I was back outside. It seemed darker and I wasn't sure exactly how long I'd been out for. I was only half certain of what I'd seen fight before falling over and sat up, groaning. Quickly checking my pockets, it seems as though I had everything still, much to my relief. My head was still spinning, but I seemed unharmed outside my tumble, and I let myself properly get my bearings. Whoever that was I ran into didn't seem to be around right now, and I wobbled to my feet as I stood. God, how late was it? Or how late is it? About 6. Whoa! Fuck. I might give him a different voice. So, about 6. Whoa! I fell over again, landing on my rear and yelping as I nursed my tail. What? You got curfew? No, I mean... Who, where... Oh, scare you? Not gonna laugh on me, are you? I stared at the hair, unsure of what to make of things. Sheesh. Watching you has been a hoot, but didn't think you'd be so flighty. More on edge than any of the game out here, that's for sure. The game? Animals? Got it in one. Didn't expect a hyena out here, though. He gestured wide with his arms briefly before staring at me some more. What's your name, kid? Dave? And what's a hyena like yourself doing this far out, Just on a walk, I guess. A walk? A walk? On this mountain? Yeah? The hare whistled, looking around. Must be a long walk, given you look like a city folk. Well, no, I'm a suburbanite. I'm a basic B-word. They're staring at me some more, waiting. Well, you couldn't just walk here from the city. My guess is you're one of them Hammond kids. Me? No, I'm just staying there, I guess. His attitude seemed to shift. Disappointment, maybe? It was hard to tell. Maybe he's the one guy that survived. He's just like, he got away and he's hiding out here in this, forest. He's just like, I'm just chilling out here and I need this drug to live. Anyway. Just a guest. Oh, shame. Shame how? Well, getting in good with the rich folk is never a bad thing. Can't have one of their guests lots out in the woods now, can we? I'm not that lost, Mr. Oh, me. I'm nobody. But call me Jack. Jack. Okay. That smile he wore felt off somehow. So much so that when I smiled back, it felt like I'd summed something wrong. He doesn't have buck teeth. Is it hares or is it just bunnies that do that? Like, what's the stereotype? Another bunny butt, indeed. This is K's long lost uncle. He just decided to go like completely rogue. He's just like, this is my secret uncle. Hey, Uncle Jack. Oh God, wouldn't that just be crazy? Anyway, that smile wore felt off somehow. So much so that when I smiled back, I felt like I'd done something wrong. Well then, Dave, you had a bit of a fall inside the mill, so I brought you out here. Only because you snuck up on me. Really now? Didn't think you'd scare so easily when you were out here by yourself. Didn't think a place as big as the Hammonds would host only one guest at a time, either. Oh, it's not just me. Whole family of hyenas visiting? Well, I imagine that house be full of laughs, then. No. No, it's just me and some friends. Friends? It was almost as if the concept was foreign to him, with how thoughtful he seemed to be after echoing what I'd said. Sounds fun. It's been something like that. Oh, you get it? A whole mansion and you ain't having fun? I groaned and slumped on the spot. There's been just a lot of going on back at the house. I probably shouldn't get into it. No? And why is that? He's got the creeper hands. Bad touch, bad touch. You know the house, right? I mean, of course you do, because you know the name of the person that owns it, so... Case can't calling Uncle Jack for money, because oh no. Sassy, no. Sassy, don't say that. No spoilers. Yeah, I think we all thought the same thing. Why is it Keisuke, the complete opposite of this man, reminds us of him? Like, I can't believe it. There's no other bunny characters he would be, like, reminding us of. I'm trying to think of what other rabbit bunny hair characters there are in the VNs. I can't remember. Anyway, we move on. You know the house, right? I mean, of course you do, because you know the name of the person that owns it, so... Oh yeah, plenty of stories about that place. There are stories? Sure is. Recluse lives there now with his butler. Smart as a whip, and occasionally gets a visitor every now and again. That's not much of a story. Well, that's not the story. The story is he's got a machine in his basement. You wouldn't happen to have seen it, given you're living there, have you? Oh, you mean... I got myself before I said anything more. Noticing Jack's eyes light up the moment I trailed off. Uh-oh. Dave be looking pretty sus. Ooh, so it does exist. Well, that's nice to hear, given what I know about it. You've heard about it, too? I've been told about it, sure. Hard not to remember the talk of a time machine someone's built. Yes, it's a time machine. It wasn't a time machine, was it? Is that why the door hadn't opened? Was Oswin just lying about it? There's one in Echo, but he's already dead and not, well, I guess a character per se. I don't remember this character. Are you saying Jack's the one that's like the Jack from like the smoke room? Like this, like Jack just died in that and then just got reincarnated into Password. Like, that's not a spoiler because that happens literally in the first chapter. Like, come on. And that's pretty much the whole entire story. Anyway. Ah, no, that couldn't have been it. Oswin had said the machine works on trauma. He said that everything just repeats over and over. So it's not letting you travel through time as much as just looking at what happened last time. Well, maybe I should see if I could get it working when I'm back at the home next. Or wait, the house next. If you ever get there. Wait, what? Do you know your way back? Reckon you're stuck without a guide. Oh, I'm sure I could figure it out. I'll just head back down into the river until I find something familiar and then just wander back from there. Okay, so Sassy mentioned that the hair was Kudzu's BF. That character. Spoilers? I don't know, I mean, that update's been out for like years now, and honestly, people might just like let that fly by. Let's move on. River doesn't go anywhere near the house. You'd end up getting to a waterfall as a sheer You'd end up getting to a waterfall, the sheer cliff, before you got back to the city too. It's not that bad, is it? You're welcome to find out. What about you? Why are you even out here? Just hunting. After all, there are some big mountains, and there's nothing like being out where no one else is around to bother you. I'm sorry if I bothered you, then. I figured the mill was something neat to look at. No bother. Wondered who was wandering around out here. You sure you're fine? Or you're sure you're fine to be heading back on... Wait. I can't read. You sure you're fine to be heading on back to the house by yourself? Yeah, I'll be fine. Thanks. Well, something wasn't right. Stranger danger was a thing I'd been taught as a kid, and I didn't really sink in until now, so... As to what... Wait. Something wasn't right. Stranger danger was a thing that I'd been taught as a kid, and it didn't really sink in now as to what that had meant. I was getting an off feeling about Jack. Something about how he moved, talked, even stood there as time went by. You don't know your way back, Dave? Or, you don't know your way back, Dave. I'll figure it out. Just hit your head pretty hard, Dave. Or, you just hit your head pretty hard, Dave. Maybe I should take you back to where I'm staying so you can rest. Stranger danger! No! Bad touch! Don't trust him! No. I'm good, really. I took a couple steps back, shooting him a wry smile. It wasn't at all convincing, but I didn't want to turn my back to him either. Do you at least want me to point you in the right direction? You know where the house is? General location, sure. Wouldn't be much of a hunter if I couldn't navigate this forest now, would I? Without me asking, he pointed in a direction away from the river, through the trees. Head that way. Terrain might make it a little harder, but that's the direction the house is in. Got a long walk ahead of you, though. I chanced to look in the direction he pointed out before looking back at him. Thanks. Don't worry about it. I'm just gonna head on back to my own little hidey hole, I think. Safe travels, Dave. I watched as he turned on heel and wandered off, disappearing out of sight and out of mind in the opposite direction to where I was headed. Can't wait till Jack offers candy. He also has a white van, too, that he drove here. I watched as he turned on heel and wandered off, disappearing out of sight in the opposite direction to where I was headed. Sighing out, I took a longer look at where I needed to go. Jack had the right of it in that I had no idea where I was, really. The best I could do was head down the river until I found the camp and go from there, right? Rather than cutting through the trees, I figured I'd wander back down the river and keep in mind the direction that he'd pointed out to me. I didn't really want to have a difficult walk ahead of me if I could avoid it. My stomach rumbled. Now I'm feeling a little hungry. It's what I got for not eating for almost 2 days now. What little I just wasn't cutting it anymore. I wonder what's for dinner. I sat down on the log to catch my breath, knowing I still had a while left to go before I got back to the house. My mind wandered back to those at the house, and it started to sink in how silly I had been just leaving like I did. They were probably worried, and the guilt returned to me to rid me of my appetite. Pulling out the needle... Sorry, that's what I get for eating before this. Pulling out the needle and the bottle, I gave them another look over, considering I was where I'd found them. The needle, I gave them another look. I gave them another look over, considering I was where I'd found them. Whatever. The needle you could probably buy just about anywhere, but the bottle is what worried me. It didn't seem likely that it was just something you could pick up at the pharmacy. They were meant to sell bottles of medicine rather than bottles of diseases, after all. What seemed strange to me, though, was... why? If you were going to inject yourself with anything, why not medicine? Why not a poison? Or even if you weren't going to inject yourself, but try to inject someone you snuck up on, why not something more dangerous? Was the idea to pass this off as medicine and hope they didn't notice? Shaking my head, I put them back in my pocket. I just have to figure it out after I get back to the house. I looked up at the trees, noticing that I was quickly losing light. I need to hurry if I was going to make it back to the house before it was completely dark. It was dark enough already that it was no wonder Roswell got stuck out here. Thinking back to when he'd been left out there, I wondered if it was better to just stay here for the night. Not that I really wanted to, but I also didn't want to get lost in the woods. I noticed some mushrooms growing nearby and weighed up whether or not that was an option for dinner if I could figure out if they were safe. But if they weren't safe, I had no way of knowing. I could just easily as poison myself and make getting back to the house all the harder, if not impossible. Sighing out, I then looked to the river. I could fish, maybe. Just find a sharp enough stick and try what they did on the television, but I could barely make out anything under the water to even know where to aim. I cradled my chin in my hands and I thought it over with a sigh. Wait here or try to stumble through the woods in the dark to try and get back home? The sound of a twig snapping nearby made me look up. God damn it, Jack! Stop scaring me! Jack reappeared, approaching slowly. Never mind, he did not try and scare us. Still out here? Didn't I point out the way back? You did, but you said difficult terrain. He chuckled, rolling his shoulders. Not able to deal with difficult terrain, huh? Good to know. Jack will remember that. You know, I was wondering what you meant by that. Did you mean rocks or cliffs or mutants? They're everywhere. All the 99 people that Oswin supposedly killed are all just mutants now. Never mind. Anyway. Does it matter? Didn't end up going that way. I guess not. He got closer, resting his foot on the log and leaning down to look at me. I leaned back away from him as he did so, reflexively going to the needle concealed in my pocket. Planning on camping out here? Not a bad spot. I haven't decided yet. I thought you went the other way. Why are you downstream? Well, you know me. Guess I just got lost. He chuckled low while keeping his eyes on me, inching closer still. For me, I shifted a little further back, and he seemed to get the message. You came out here all alone. Didn't bring anything or for supplies? What are you, an idiot? Okay, that's not very nice. No, it's not. But who the fuck cares? Anyway. Yeah, who the fuck cares anyway? Yeah, well, I care. Leave me alone. Come on now, Dave. Come on now, Dave. Haven't you ever heard about the kindness of strangers? Maybe you should come back with me to my shelter and stay the night. You could tell me all about your friends and what's got you down with that house you're staying at. I stood, and for a moment, it almost seemed like Jack's expression shifted more towards a smug satisfaction. Don't trust a man whose hands look like that. Do not trust him. But then it faded away as soon as it was clear that I wasn't intending to follow him anywhere. I'm gonna head back now. Thanks for getting me out of the mill, I guess. In a flash, he moved forward, grabbing me by the arm. Stranger danger! I don't do anything for free. You owe me. Hey, let me go! Not just yet, Dave. I know something you can pay me back with. No. Oh, I thought he was gonna start stealing the syringe. There's a thing I want to know. You met the guy that owns the place, right? I spoke without thinking. Trying to pull my arm away from him was my priority. Oswin Hammond? Right as I pulled, he let me go, letting me land on my back on the ground. Oh, good. That makes it easier. What about his butler? He's still kicking? Yeah, he's karate kicking everybody. He is literally freaking dangerous. Benson low-key is a dark horse. He could just he's like the James Bond of these characters. He's just gonna come up on somebody just right on their neck. Anyway. So this is the good route for Tyson. This is the good route in general. It's a day 13 general good route. Anyway, yes, he's old, but yeah, sure, he's around. He's good, now I know who to cap. Whose knees to cap. So, Jack didn't seem to like the answer. His jaw clenched and he stared down at me with his voice low. Well, that's just great, isn't it? Here I was hoping this was gonna be an easy job too. Oh god, this is sus as frick! Jack, why you gotta be so sus? Oh well, I don't mind a messy job when the pay is this good. I don't understand. What do you mean? I got to my feet, edging away from Jack further. There was no point of being subtle about it now. I wanted to get away. All the while he just grinned, looming over me. What I mean is that I've been out here for a week, bored out of my mind, and I want to have a little fun. You are sus as frick. So get to running, Dave. I'm running! Call the cops! If you guys see my microwave in the background, I would have done that. I would have done that fine if it was closer and visible. Is that a weed? I'm calling the cops. Hold on. Is that a weed? I'm calling the cops. 911, what's your emergency? Jack the Ripper. Oh god, isn't that like that really like cringy novel where it's like there's furries in it too, or like there's one version that's like that. The guy's supposed to be super edgy, but he's also like, but it's like in a world of furries for some reason. Like, it was pretty weird. So get to running, Dave. Oh god, no! No! Let's play tag. Ah! The moment I saw the knife, I ran. I didn't need to stick around to wonder what he was intending on doing with it. I had no idea where I was going. I could barely see, and it took everything I had to stop myself from tripping over the many roots that lined the forest floor. How I wished I was more fit. My heart was pounding in my chest, and my lungs felt like they were on fire. It was a wonder that I hadn't collapsed from exhaustion. I felt a chill run down my spine as I heard Jack somewhere behind me, calling out in a sing-song sort of tone. Dave, run! Run as fast as you can! It was the fear that I hadn't felt before. Cold and dark, somewhere deep down that seemed to keep me moving forward. It was different from the cliff and the river. It was different from back home. It was even different from thinking about my friends. And I wasn't sure if it was a good or bad thing. The darkness of the forest seemed to ease up. Maybe I was getting used to it, or maybe being chased with my life on the line was making things easier. Not that I had any way of knowing which way I was going. Gonna have to do better than that, Dave. Oh my god! Stop! I yelped as I rounded a tree and dove around Jack as he swiped lazily with his knife. I could feel the sting of it shear some of the fur off my ears, and I continued on. Keep running. Playtime isn't over yet. With one hand on my ear and the other propelling myself forward, I struggled to find my way. It all looked the same. The woods outside my breathing was quiet. But then, I knew where to go. I didn't see it, but I could smell it. Cherry pie. I knew that smell. Orlando must have baked something to lead me back to the house. What guilt I would have felt about not doing the same for Roswell who would need to wait. All I had to do was follow my nose and I'd be safe. I'd be with my friends. It wasn't home, but it would do. Jack was still following me through. Every moment I had to stop to take a deep breath. I could hear him somewhere behind me approaching. He was running like I was,
but pacing himself. Maybe his stamina was just better. Then, through the trees, I could see the soft glow of lights. The smell of pie was growing stronger too. There! I'm there! I looked behind me and there was Jack, still with the knife and gaining speed, his white fur sticking out in the darkness of the night like a ghost. Not there yet. Whining, I tried to lose him the last little bit through the trees, but almost choked as he grabbed the back of my shirt, pulling me back towards him and then into the tree. Winded, I clutched my chest. The house was right there, and I turned to look. I felt the tip of Jack's knife at my throat. I closed my eyes. What was there to do? It'd be over soon, hopefully. From how hard I was running, I could barely form words. It wasn't much of an upside, but at least they'd be able to find my body easily. The sound of a gunshot both made us jump. And just as quickly as I realized what had happened, I fell to the ground, covering my head. Cowering on the ground, I heard my assailant flee into the forest again. Despite being so close to the house, I didn't feel so good. I didn't feel safe. Instead, I felt sick. Like I was able to pass out, but something was keeping me conscious. I couldn't keep my thoughts together. My tongue tangled and my inability to pull myself together was making me hyperventilate. The adrenaline was nice while I was running away, but now I could barely breathe as I clutched my chest. I collapsed to the ground, clutching my chest. Had I been shot? Jack? What had happened?
Dave!
Looking up, I could see Dean skid to a halt in front of me, dropping to his knees and holding me by the shoulders.
Oh dear God, doing this on the Dean route will be insane. Holy crap.
I wanted to tell him what just happened, what I'd seen, and how I was feeling. But nothing came out of my mouth except a raspy breath and the onset of nausea.
God, you're pale. Were you out in the forest all day?
Excuse me?
What happened?
Dean, did you? It did. I looked to Orlando, eased back onto my knees by Dean. Everyone, Dean found him. He was quick to leave again, rushing off somewhere out of sight. Clinging to Dean, I whined and gasped for air, my heart pounding in my chest. Tried to keep myself centered on Dean's honey-like scent. I struggled to calm myself down.
It's Dave. It's Dave.
Yes, I can see that.
Who? I heard a gunshot and...
We can discuss this later. Get the boy inside. Oh my God, I am freaked out. Dean picked me up and I clung to him, digging into the muscle under the fur, as if letting go was the same as dying then and there. Okay, where is the fucking rabbit? I could tell it was Oswin, although his tone was different, crazy almost, and I could make out what seemed to be a revolver in his hand before he shoved it back into his pocket. Damn it all! Sir, now is not the time to be gallivanting around on a crusade over rabbits. Oswin grunted, standing stiff. Was he the one that fired? How? From where? I opened my mouth to thank him, but nothing came out.
At least Dave is accounted for now, but...
He's suffering. The sound I made was a mix between a whine and a rasping cough, the tightening in my chest becoming worse.
Then do something about it. You're a doctor, right?
Again, I tried to speak as Oswin stepped closer, looking me in the eye. Set him down, Dean.
As if afraid of breaking me, he set me down on the stairs, sitting me against him for additional support. It's all right, Dave. You're safe now. You had us all worried. Help. It took everything I had to get the word out, and I tried to stand, slipping on the stair below me and falling onto the cold tiles of the foyer floor. In a flash, Dean was by my side, and I heard the others rushing closer. We were in danger. They were all in danger, and it was my fault. I couldn't breathe. My vision was blurring, and I was starting to lose my ability to hear. I've got an idea. A Tyson-shaped blur rushed past up the stairs until I could no longer discern his scent among the others. Dean seemed to know what his plan was, but hurried along after him soon after. Dave, listen to me. I need you to tell me where the rabbit went. You can't be serious. That's the priority you have right now. Roswell went ignored, and Oswin stopped next to me, shifting me so we could make eye contact easier. It's very important. Where did he go? It took everything I had just to shake my head. The smell of gunpowder was strong on Oswin, and it was bringing memories of the surface that I couldn't fight off. Should we get him somewhere? Maybe we should at least pick him up off the floor. Dave, try to relax. I'll put you in your bed, and when you're ready, you can tell us what happened. As Sal came down to pick me up, I pushed him away. I could do it. I had to. Dave, please. Sal, stand back. What are you going to? In a flash, Oswin pulled something from his coat and thrust it against my neck. The sound of air escaping, indicating something had happened. What did you do? Something I was saving for that rabbit butt. This should do to put Dave at ease. Whatever they said next, I didn't catch, instead passing out there on the floor. It started with my vision, then my body went numb, and then last to go was my hearing, and with the last voice I heard Benson saying something. In a way, I was relieved now that everything had stopped. Was I dead? Was I asleep? Either way, all I could do was let whatever happens, happen. If you two continue to be, I'm going to punch. Are you kidding me? Are you freaking kidding me? You are terrible. You are terrible. Oh my goodness. I am very frustrated. To be continued. End of demo. Oh my god, that is awful. How are we gonna survive this? Why do I come into these with more questions than answers? Or come out of them with more questions than answers? That's what I meant. I'm knocking the table in anger. That is getting intense. Now it seems like we have an obvious villain, though. Like, maybe there's gonna be some sort of red herring or a twist from it. Well, maybe not red herring. He's obviously pretty vicious. But, yeah, it's like, maybe there's more than just Jack to it. But for now, it's just Jack being the crazy person in the forest. And I don't know how to feel about this. And once again, Grizz pulls a Scheherazade? Scheherazade? What's a Scheherazade? Never heard of it, but man, that was just too crazy. Oh my god. if Grizz eventually watches it, he's gonna just love my reaction for it. It's like, Dave, please be okay. Oh man, this is getting me worried. Alright. That's all I really have to say. A red herring. Oh, stop it, Sassy. And Dragon and Friends has a game theory. Oh god. Thinking it could be Roswell, Dean, or Jack that is the mastermind of the vault. But, oh my god, I could not imagine that. It's a reference to 1001 Arabian Nights. Okay. I do not know my plays that well. But what now? Well, I don't know when I'm gonna play Dean's Day 13. It'll probably all be pretty much the same. Like, I might have to just kind of fast forward through it because only like one thing in this update was kind of Tyson specific. So it was kind of weird to play this day and just have it mostly be what's probably going to be universal throughout the day 13s. So yeah, I'm not sure how I'm going to plan the next password stream. And I wonder if I'll be getting any other updates coming soon. I don't know, man. I'm just getting bombarded with schoolwork. And by that, I just mean the same work is just hard, and it's really hard for everybody to do, and nobody's making progress, including myself. So we all just are sitting in a constant state of confusion, even after asking the prof and the section teacher. Yeah, rough classes. You should definitely download Password. It's a good game. Definitely recommend it. So I'm going to end things here. This was a quicker stream, but I'm kind of glad because I was kind of getting tired through the middle of that stream, and yeah, I think I should probably go to bed earlier to maybe get a better start on homework in these upcoming days. The day 13s I played are almost, if not entirely, identical. So I might just, like, after the Tyson scene, I might just be like, I might make a clip section of it where it's like Tyson specific scene or part that could be specific to Tyson for like one section, and then the rest of the section is, or the next section. So it could be my mukbang, then part of the password that is common, then Dean and Tyson specific parts for each video, and then the rest of the common video so that you can just go into watching this video for reference, just because I don't know, I don't want to play the same thing like twice, like just back to back in like 2 days if they're just the same exact storyline. Like I may just skip through it, of course, like I might just do it just for the progress of it and just kind of wade through it, and if anything's like not, and if anything's unique, I would stop for those parts. But yeah, man. Don't know if I can live through that again. Holy crap. If you ask Oswin about rabbits, a choice appears after Jack leaves at the mill. Interesting. Oh my god, Sassy, your jokes! Don't hurt me. It's so nice you guys are cheering for me. I'm not really liking my schoolwork or my major that much anymore. It's just I'm trying to get through it to graduate, so I'm kind of grinning and bearing it. It's my final year for college. I just want to get done with it so I can just maybe do a change of pace, try and do something else maybe with my life. Maybe go into sports management or graphic design. I don't know. I just want to get that dang degree and get the stupid courses over with, because the courses are just ridiculously confusing. But yeah, that's all I have, so that is the end of this stream. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, take care, guys.